Good morning. Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Claudia with Claudia's Door Decor, and joining me is Jennifer with Wildflower Creations. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Good morning. So let's start like I start every Real Talk. Let's let people know who you are, where you're located, and where they can find you on social media.
Okay. So I am Jennifer. Um, on TikTok, Jennifer Realtor / Door Decor. On Facebook, Jennifer Heidemann. Um, I have not converted that over. I've got too many real estate different pages. We're leaving it as is for now. I did get my Etsy up and running after many trials and different things with that. So on there, gosh, I just did it this morning. I'm going to have to look.
It's
I
okay.
had to go through about 13 names to get anywhere near what I wanted. But I did get it done. And as soon as I did, I started getting spam messages making me think
Believe
that
it
they
or
were
not,
gonna
that's
shut me
happening
down.
to everyone. So that's unfortunate. But be aware that if it's a message coming in through your Etsy saying that you have a sale, they need more information, that is not real. That is not real. Okay. Good morning.
I have a IG. I believe it's just Jennifer Heidemann as well. I don't really get on there, so don't leave me a message there and expect me to get back and maybe a month or two later.
Well, where is the best way to message you if somebody wants to get in touch with you?
On here, if you don't need to send any pictures or anything, could definitely message me on here. On my Facebook page, Jennifer Heidemann. Definitely message me on there. Etsy, I haven't gotten any messages, so I don't know exactly how that works, but I'm assuming that it would be fine to message on there as well. Yeah.
So, a little tip for Etsy. Etsy likes when you message people back like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
so
one
that's
message
what,
I got that was legit. They're like, that's a great way to start by messaging back quickly. So I figured that they
yeah,
like,
they love the messages like right away. All right, so we're gonna dive into present because this is obviously the platform where we do what we do, right? We do the wreath making, we have conversations with the chat. So how did you get to TikTok? Like what said, "Hey, let's go look at TikTok."
um, that's a good question. You know, I think just it was a new social media platform. Maybe something came through my Facebook, or I don't really know exactly what led me to it, but I was hooked.
Okay,
Right.
so once you started coming onto TikTok,
Yeah.
watching videos, we all know the For You page, the swiping, all of that stuff. Who was the first person that came across your feed to watch create a wreath?
Who did I watch first? Um, hmm. I believe it was Ashley, Three
Okay.
Little Greenwoods. I think that was, I might have found her first on YouTube and then looked her up on TikTok. And, once you look up one person,
You find everybody. Okay, so once you found Ashley from Three Little Greenwoods and you were watching her, how did you like how did you go from watching her to being like, I might want to do this?
well, I was technically making wreaths prior to finding Ashley. I don't know what video was the first one I seen on YouTube, but that was definitely my start. And I think I had said this to you. I don't really know where wreaths came from. I don't know if I seen something. I don't know, but I was thinking, okay, I think I could do this. I think I want to do this. And then that's when I started looking at YouTube videos. Started with mesh and did a few with mesh. I thought they were absolutely perfect at the time, but looking back at them now, big difference from then to now. But Ashley was the one that really got me interested in grapevines.
What
That's
I
her
meant,
thing.
but what I meant was that you wanted to go live and make
To
wreaths.
go live and make wreaths.
Because then you found out you had to get 1,000 followers to
Right.
do that.
So I guess seeing all the people that were on her live and engaging in her live, then it led me to many other people's lives. Lindsay is someone that I've watched since I started watching them. She always had a lot of people. Her lives were always fun. Um, I just thought that, that looks like fun if I'm going to do this. It'd be fun to do it and still talk to other people. It's a half a school day, so my little guy will be coming in any minute. Um, but yeah, I just thought, okay, it seems like the women and men that I've watched that are successful, they're going live and, they're making sales that way. And also, anybody that's in the wreath business, you there's an issue when it comes to pricing, selling to friends and family, and a lot of times people don't realize how much it costs to make wreaths, so they don't want to necessarily pay what you feel your wreath is worth. So you got to kind of find your people.
Well,
So
that's the thing, right? So we know, right, that a lot of times selling locally, there's also a particular type of wreath that they kind of gravitate to. But when you actually share with local people, the price of an item is what it's worth because you have so many people that do it as a hobby. They only care if they get the amount that they put into it back from it, right?
absolutely.
So once you reached your 1,000 followers, you went and clicked live right away, didn't you?
No, nope, not even close. I
So what was it about getting, I mean, how did you feel when you finally got to your 1,000 followers?
It was like I wanted to get there so bad, and I was like, I can't wait. As soon as I get there, I'm going live. And then I got there, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to go live. Um, and it was somewhat intentional to go into other people's lives and let them know that that was what I was trying to do. That way, they would hold me accountable, which is exactly what happened. As much as I was scared, I knew there were a few people, a handful of people that were waiting for me to go live and wanted to see me make a wreath and engage and talk to them. So I didn't want to let anyone down. So finally, after I made 110 excuses in my head and moved my space from here, there, and everywhere, I decided, okay, you just got to do it. Just do it. Once you do it one time, I know I would be fine. And that's exactly what happened.
So you had made a video about the fact that you were watching Real Talk and
Yeah,
at what we were talking about really convicted you.
it did. It did.
And then finally, next thing you know, here comes Jennifer hitting that live button.
Hi, guys.
What was that first live like for you?
The 10 minutes prior was miserable. I was like, do I need a drink? What do I need to do here? And then hitting the button was like, okay, I'm watching the numbers, waiting for people to get on. And then it was like, okay, well, how does this person start their live? What do they say? What do they do? What have I seen them do that I felt like it worked for them, or it brought people in, or it had people engaging more, and just try to be myself. I was nervous. I felt like people could probably tell that I was nervous, but they knew anybody that was in there, it wasn't really random. It was people that, had seen me on TikTok, had been waiting for me to go live. So everyone made it very comfortable. And about halfway through, I feel like I had completely, loosened up and wasn't so nervous anymore. And I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. So here's something that you can share with the community that is TikTok. When you are not the person on the camera, you engage in the chat,
Hmm.
right? Is
Yeah.
that how you got to know so many people in this
Oh, yeah.
community is by engaging?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Even just giving someone a compliment or asking a question that I might have already known the answer to, but just, hopefully they'll see my name and eventually think, oh, okay, she stops by pretty often. She's supportive. Um, just kind of seeing the same people within our community. There's a lot of us watch the same people, engage with the same people. So I just tried to kind of make my presence known. And I still do. I always will. I feel like even if I'm just stopping by to hit like a couple times and say hey, I make sure to try to do that.
So in your basically that's how you support, right? So in your travels of TikTok and your supporting of others, what does that mean as the person on this side of the camera to you when somebody does the same for you?
I love that and I very much appreciate it because it gets awkward if you're just sitting there and no one's saying anything. It's like, okay, am I boring? Am I not doing a good job? Is this not what people want to see? Um, it
So do you
just
say that those insecurities, like anything that you were maybe never insecure about, all of a sudden those insecurities start creeping in?
absolutely,
Is there
absolutely,
anything you can do to combat that? To be like that isn't truth. There's nothing wrong. Jennifer, you're not a boring person, right?
right.
It's just the awkwardness because
Yeah.
you're just sitting with a camera. You're not sitting across the table from somebody.
Right, right. And that's the thing too. It's you really have to realize that you're not, you can have a conversation, but you don't see the facial expressions, you don't hear the tone. It is a totally different conversation than what you're used to if you've never gone live before. So I think that was something that I had to get used to, or like, you ask a question and maybe it takes a few seconds, a minute for you to see the comments, but it's not because they're not commenting. It's just, Facebook technology. It just takes a couple seconds. So that was something I had to realize too, that okay, just because I say, how are you, and 2 seconds later I don't see fine, it doesn't mean that people aren't engaging in the conversation. It just takes a couple seconds for you to
Right.
see.
It's not instantaneous. It's not that immediate response because you are talking to a screen. So
Right.
at some point though, um, you don't want to overshare. Let me just explain that. When you have that awkward silence, it does become innately super uncomfortable. You can even get like that hot flash, you're just like, what the heck is happening? How often do you just want to click off? You're just like, this isn't working, not a good day. I want out of here.
I feel I've been lucky. I really haven't had a moment where I'm like, okay, I want to click off, but I do in my head think, okay, shift something. If, I'm not asking enough questions, or the typical, where are you from? How's the weather? That is perfect. Usually that starts conversations. You can go from there. That leads to many other things. So anytime I feel that, things are getting quiet, I just, hey, if you're new here, say, hey, where are you from? Roll call, anything to get the engagement going again.
So since you are so new to going live, because it's only been what? How long have you been going live?
Um, Maybe within a month, right around 4 weeks or so. I think I've hit
Yeah.
5 or 6 lives.
What would you say to someone that is working so hard to get to those 1,000 followers about going live?
don't stop. Keep working hard to get there. And then once you do get there, don't stop. Keep putting in that effort to bring more people into your lives. Don't get discouraged. You and I had discussed it too. At first, you're only getting a handful, 12, 13 people in your lives, but do you really want more to start out? It's kind of nice just getting to know them people and having a conversation with them. That way, once you do start getting more people, your older people are kind of engaging with you. Maybe there's a question that you missed and somebody can answer it for you, or it's almost like building friendships. I mean, you may never meet in person, but you still, like, I say it to my boyfriend Larry all the time. Oh, my friend on TikTok, that I'll never probably meet in my life, but I still feel like, we have a relationship of some sort. I enjoy talking to them.
We're spending time together.
Yeah.
We are all spending time together, whether we're cheering each other on, supporting one another, helping one another. We are spending time together. And I don't know if you see that Grace just said you might, because guess what? Kentucky's just right above me. And if you're willing, I'm willing. That's all I got to say. All right.
That is very true.
So it's not that you're never going to meet. You just have to make the effort, because obviously we don't all live next door, which, could you imagine if we did? we would, our ribbon, mesh, flowers. I mean, could you imagine, instead of going to borrow an egg or some sugar, we would be like running up and down the street going, who's got this mesh? Who's got this ribbon?
Help with sugar and some pink ribbon. Yeah.
That would be amazing. Let me go ahead and pause. If there's any questions that you would like to ask based on her experience on TikTok that you would like to know and ask Jennifer, this is the time to do it. So Trisha says we could have a warehouse, LOL, and our street would be the prettiest. Misty from Little Luxury says, I'd be like, give me that peony, girl. Right? Candy said, we would have a wreath making party. Absolutely.
At least.
Does anybody have any questions? So the things that I have noticed, Jennifer, when I go into your lives, and the things that I enjoy about going into your lives, is the view that you offer. You sit in such a way where the camera is over your shoulder and we can still see you, but we get to see the beautiful creations that you're making. The grapevine behind you, that is one that we got to watch you make during a TikTok live. Trisha, we have a whole segment on that we're going to be talking about. So we are going to talk about that in a little bit later. And same thing, Misty, we're talking about going live right now. So we do have that question, but we'll hit on that a little bit later. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on. All right. So we hope that this encourages you as a content creator, business owner. If your business is online, you need to be online, which means people need to know who you are and who they're spending their money with. So definitely going live is amazing. All right, so when you go watch Jennifer during her lives, you often see two little gorgeous critters, which she calls her beautiful children, peek in. So let's talk a little bit about, basically your home life, your family. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So I have two boys that live at home. One boy that just got home from the Army. Oldest is 22, then 6 and 5. I know, I'm only look 29, so how could I possibly have a 22-year-old? Blows my mind. No, but I feel like I've lived two different lifetimes when it comes to raising children. Totally different experience from one to the other. Not that one was better than the other, I'll say, but just a different experience. My two little guys are 17 months apart, so they either are like this or nothing's going right in the house. That's boys, I'm sure, and being very close in age. And then I have Larry. That is my boyfriend. We have been together for going on 9 years. Not technically married, but I don't think anything would be much different if we were. Um, yeah, it's that's about it for my home life as far as kids and my two little boys. You'll definitely they like popping in. They like to be seen. They want to be like YouTube stars maybe one day. So this is kind of their
We'll get
gateway.
there. Mama's getting her live experience. She's
Right.
testing it out for you boys, and then absolutely she will help you, cheerlead you,
Yeah.
go do your thing. All right, so we're gonna dive in a little bit deeper into Larry, 9-year boyfriend. Okay, we're gonna talk about how you met.
Okay. Funny story. So we met, well, as you guys know, I'm in Kentucky. I'm like 30 minutes from downtown Cincinnati, Ohio. So 9 years ago, which seems like a whole another lifetime for me, I was a bartender at a nightclub, and I was there on one of my off nights, and there wasn't that many people there that night, so you kind of noticed anybody that was around you. And Larry had walked up and wanted to have a conversation, and me being the guarded woman that I was, I had to go to the bathroom. Then I had to go here, and then I had to go there, and then finally I had went outside, and he had went outside to leave, and he pulled up in the truck, and he asked for my number, which I had no intention of giving him, not for any reason other than, as a single woman bartending, you get a lot of people that ask for your number. So it's just like programmed that no, 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 no. And I had been single for a long time, so it was just, I just wasn't trying to go there. Even though I wanted to, eventually it was just so programmed in my mind that no. But he pulled up in a truck, and I very much like that truck, and I very much find attraction to men that have trucks. So I said, you know what? I am going to give you my number. Only because you pulled up in that truck, and it surprised me as well. And gave
Yeah,
you
so to all those people that say, I'm not going to get the truck because it won't get me the girl,
the truck will get you the girl.
in this case, because it surprised her, it took her off guard. She did not expect for him to be rolling up on a in a truck.
I did not expect it. Not at all. So it was like, you know what? That was a sign. That was a sign, and gave him my number. And then funny, I remember him texting me and me texting, and then being like, I am so sorry. I totally forgot your name. And he was like, you never asked. So I didn't even know his name. So I was so just into the truck. I don't think I even realized the man inside of the truck. So
That just goes to show you though that because she was bartender, single, don't forget she was a mom too, so that makes you kind of hyper protective and guarded anyway. So she sees this guy, she's like, whatever, just another guy trying to get my number, no big deal. But then he rolls up. Do you think, or have you ever talked to him about the fact that when you had walked outside, he was just like, whatever? Or was he like, yeah, I'm going to show her what she's missing out on?
I don't know. I don't think so. I will now though, now that you said that.
I'm just wondering if it was intentional. It's like, I'm going to roll up and see what she says about this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he was leaving already. I don't know, but I will definitely, I will ask him that.
So
If
there will be a follow-up to this. No, I'm just kidding.
there will
We
be.
will find out the details. So you got into bartending, right? But you had things going on prior to bartending. So let's talk about how the evolution of Jennifer from where she started to then realtor, like how we know you, realtor and wreath maker. So let's start at the beginning. What did you start doing?
So I started in the restaurant business at 14. First job was at 14. I was a busser at an Italian restaurant down in Newport, Kentucky, that it's called Pompilio's. And if anyone has ever seen Rain Man, that is the restaurant that they were in. Yeah. So that was my first job. And then many restaurants after that, fast food. Then I finally started at Frisch's. I don't know if you guys have Frisch's where you are, but Frisch's Big Boy is very popular in this area. It's fast food, but sit down. So I started there as like a cashier and then worked my way up to a server. Stayed in the business. I enjoyed it. I like talking to people. I found it, it came pretty easily for me to make money that way. Continued. I started working at Applebee's. That's where I started bartending. I would serve and bartend both, and I banked with a bank that was across the street. And I went in there one day, just so happened to be not a great day at Applebee's. And when I walked in, the manager, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "Are you hiring?" And then I started in banking. So
No, literally, when she was telling me her story, had she ever thought about banking? Had she ever said, I want this to be like a career, a thing I do? Nope. She had a bad day.
right. I mean, I thought, oh, that'd be cool to, dress up and be in that environment, but it wasn't like, I wasn't looking for a job by any means, but they were looking for an employee, and it was, right place, right time. So started there, worked my way up to management fairly quickly. And that was kind of one of those things where people move quickly within the bank. You move positions, you move up, you move around, you move to different locations. So moved up, but also during that time, or actually it was right before I started at the bank, I had applied for hair school. Always something I wanted to do, but there was a very, very long waiting list. So it kind of just out of sight, out of mind. Started at the bank, was there for a while, and then my name came up to be able to go to hair school, and I just didn't want to miss the opportunity. Not that there was an issue at the bank, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity, and it was full time to go to hair school. Same as having a full-time job, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, I think it was. So I started doing that, but obviously I still needed income, and back to bartending I go. So hair school, bartending, worked fine, got through hair school, did hair for a while. First salon I started at, I had to sign a non-compete. I was not allowed to, if I quit there, I was not allowed to do hair within, it was like 40 flying miles. Flying
Wow.
miles is a lot different. I mean, that put you in different states almost.
But hold on a second. Why did you sign such a vast non-compete? I mean, how many are there not enough heads in Kentucky to cut hair?
It was a very well-known salon and spa. I had friends there. It was because it was large and well known. And okay, funny, let me add to this. So here's Applebee's. You go up the street, here's the bank that I started at. In between it is the salon. I mean, you could have threw a snowball and hit one from the other.
Right.
Yeah. So, I thought that's where I wanted to be. I thought that that's where I was meant to be. That's a good way to build up a clientele. You didn't have to put a whole lot of effort into getting clientele. They just, they scheduled you with people. If you did a good job, they came back to you. So,
How long did you do that for?
after I got out of hair school, probably around 2 years.
Okay.
And I liked it. I did like it. I was good at it, but physically, it was tough. It was very,
Always,
very
always
tough.
on your feet.
Yeah, always on your feet. My back was just my feet always hurt. There was not much flexibility. Had to work the weekends because that's when people have time to get their hair done is on the weekends. So I
So it
didn't
was
care much.
taking you away from your son at the
Absolutely.
time,
Absolutely. And
right?
the money wasn't great.
Right.
Um, it took a long time to really build up a clientele. And as much as I thought that that was the place that was going to get that for me, there was so much competition. They weren't really good about, okay, this woman called and she wants to get in on Saturday and she asked for me, but I'm booked on Saturday. So they would book her with someone else. They should have, how do
So,
you
so not only did they make you sign a non-compete, but even when somebody wanted to see you again, they wouldn't encourage that customer to come on a different day. That's unfortunate.
they just
So after you were in that situation with the non-compete and couldn't go somewhere else, there was so much competition already in that salon. Obviously, that was why the non-compete was such a vast area. Okay.
So I just decided, okay, this isn't for me. It was a year. I said, that's plenty of time to decide if this is really what I want to do or not. I have a year, to go do something else. I knew I could always fall back on bartending. So that's what I did. I went back. I think actually I went back serving for a little while. And some of my friends that I met at my serving job went to work at a bar. It's a little small bar town right here by us and great place to work. And I followed and I loved it there. I stayed there for many years, became a bar manager there, made my own schedule, made a lot of money. My schedule was very flexible. And then the owner just, things turned, went downhill, and I just couldn't be there anymore. So I took a little bit of time off. I was fortunate to be able to do that. And then I started working at the nightclub downtown.
Which is where Larry comes in.
And yes.
Because you guys met, started talking, you had mentioned that your relationship actually literally went fast forward.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead and start sharing about that.
Um, we met, we started dating, we were inseparable. It just from day one, it was it. I think he knew, I knew, we were inseparable. Larry didn't have any children. I believe I was 34 at the time when we met. He's 2 years older than me. Didn't have any children. I really didn't think I was having any more children. It wasn't because it was like, oh no, I don't want children. It was just, it had been so long. I hadn't met anyone. I didn't think it was in the cards for me. I wasn't opposed to it, but it just wasn't something that I felt was going to happen. But then, I knew he wanted kids. He didn't pressure me. If he had said it many times, if that's not what I wanted, he understood. But I seen right away the type of dad that he would be. And I was right. He's a wonderful dad. I couldn't ask for a better partner in this for sure.
Ooh, she got paused.
I think I want to do this. So we decided we were going to do this, and we did. And then after we had Bryson, I decided, maybe I want to have the second one and see what it's like to have two at the same time. I've already done the one at a time. And, he was on board, but we really weren't like, okay, we're going to do this, but we really didn't have a whole lot of time either. I mean, at this point, I'm 36. And then it happened. So it was like, okay, well, we're doing this. And that's when Braden came along. So 17 months apart. Bryson was nine months old when I got pregnant with Braden.
Well, it was meant to be, obviously. I mean,
Yes.
because I mean, being that you were the age that you were, and being that we are always told there's a biological clock that ticks, I mean, that is one of the things that
Oh,
we
I
as women are aware of,
geriatric pregnancies. That's what they
right?
call it. Geriatric pregnancies.
Geriatric at 36?
At 35.
At 35, you were geriatric? That's a bad label.
Yeah,
Doctors
I
need
was
to
like,
do
I
better.
think this is wrong. I think they got me confused when I read it on the paper, and they're like, no,
Did
anything over
you Did
35.
you, were you, okay, I was 33 when I had my second. Okay, so that bothers me. That term
Yeah.
bothers me
Yes.
because there are women that do their career first,
Mhm.
right? That get their career up and going first. But to put that label on women that want to try to have a child later on in life, that's awful. Anyway, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Because you're perpetually 29. You're not geriatric at all. What's up? No.
Yeah, I don't understand that one at all. I've
Okay,
already
so
told you
let's
my
talk
oldest is
about all the things that you shared with me about all the different things that you and Larry have created as far as businesses and stuff. Let's talk about that.
so um our first business venture was, and I don't know if I shared this one with you. We had a commercial cleaning business. Did I tell you that? Okay. That was our first business venture. Um, it was wonderful as far as, it financially was easy, but couldn't do anything until after 5 p.m. every day. That was tough. And then when I got pregnant, it was just me and him for a long time. I mean, as anybody knows, good help is hard to find. So it was him and I. We had enough work for him and I. We enjoyed it together. I mean, not really enjoyed cleaning bathrooms or, commercial buildings, but not a big deal. But then when I got pregnant, it was, I didn't want to be breathing in the chemicals. It was a lot of physical work. And we tried to hire within family. That didn't work. It never does. We tried, ads on Craigslist, bring people in. It was a job that there was a lot of freedom along with it, and people took advantage of that. So we decided that wasn't for us. And we moved on to buying truckloads of things, pallets of things. We started in our basement selling things. We moved to the flea market. We moved to a small warehouse. We moved to a large warehouse, and then we got a storefront.
All right, pause.
Okay.
Because when you say pallets of things, okay, we can't just run right over that and not explain what that means. So, there are several opportunities for people to purchase pallets of things. So let's dive into that a little bit. Share with people what that means.
So at first, it was like things, a lot of people will buy returns, pallets of things that are returned. That's not really a good idea, especially coming from Walmart or something like that. You're really not going to do very well with that. So, of course, we had to learn that lesson. And then pallets of, we got into getting more specific items like, what was it really? Patio furniture. Huge, huge selling patio furniture. House furniture, kayaks. People were so into kayaks. So we got more specific on buying pallets, different websites. Really, Larry did the ordering. I knew what was hot and what was not, but I really wasn't the one that did the ordering. Um, but as we grew, one pallet didn't do anything for us. So then we started buying truckloads, which you're still getting things on pallets, but it's a truckload of pallets. So that's how we got bigger and bigger and started buying from different places. Prices were great. We were very specific about what we would buy. We didn't have a whole lot that just sat around. we tried to avoid things that we knew weren't going to sell. And then COVID. And COVID
So
hit.
so you have a storefront at this point. You
Mhm.
have a storefront at this point prior to 2020.
Yes.
So then COVID hit. Go ahead.
The little guy's home. COVID hit, and we weren't allowed to open. Government, everything had to be shut down. But we did do a lot of selling online as well. We had a website, but we also did a lot of selling on Facebook Marketplace before it became what it is today. And we were very successful. I mean, the business grew and became successful from Facebook Marketplace. And just Facebook in general, we had our store website and people knew the name, and it was a lot of our business came from online. So during the time when we weren't able to open, people could still look at our inventory, order something online. We would drive to the store, set the item outside, they would pick it up, pay through Cash App or Zelle or something, or, money in an envelope, any way we could do it. And luckily, we had what people wanted at the time. I mean, it was just happened to be that way. People wanted pools and patio furniture and kayaks and things that they could do where they weren't, somewhere that they weren't allowed to be, and didn't have to be indoors, and everything was closed. So it was, as much as it was hard because it was shutting our store down in person, we actually were very fortunate in the beginning. But then we couldn't buy anything. So it was
Yeah.
basically selling out of what we had.
You know what I had a hard time finding? The hardest thing finding, because just as you said, COVID affected your business. My company sent us all home to work. I couldn't find an office desk, a desk. I couldn't find it. It was impossible to find. It's like everybody shopped for a desk at the same time.
Oh, he's grumpy. What's wrong? Bryson, let him use your remote. Go on, baby. Let me finish doing this. I'll be in a minute. Yes, desks. Yes, people wanted desks. They were anything like that you could think of, they were contacting us because the big, Walmart, Target were sold out. So we
Office
were
Depot,
very fortunate.
Office Max, Staples, anywhere you
Everywhere.
could possibly think of getting I have an L desk. I wasn't looking for like anything fancy. I just needed somewhere to work. Couldn't find it.
Yep.
Couldn't buy it. Couldn't get it.
That was some of the, like, a desk was something that, it wasn't like a bad buy for us before COVID, but it wasn't something that was ever in high demand until then. So we had several of things like that where it was, we didn't want to just get rid of it, but it wasn't something that was going to sell right away. So COVID hit, and I mean, it was like we were just, I don't know, it was like a God thing. All the things that we had in the store was just the things that people wanted.
So
So
you were able to sell the inventory you had in your store. You were able to close the doors to your store, but now you had to figure out something else.
yes.
So
So
what happened?
we decided, well, I was getting my real estate license at the time. Bryson and Braden were very young when we started in the basement. We only had Bryson. He was a couple months old. I mean, we tease all the time. He grew up in the flea market. Um, yeah,
That's so funny.
it is, but he's probably not going to like that one day.
No.
But Braden was really little, and the store was great, and we were able to be there. We were able to have our kids there. We had a whole little setup. It was perfect, but I wanted more. I wanted my own income to, bring to the table as well. So that's when I decided on real estate, something I had thought about, many times, but just never pursued. But it just felt like the right time. I could be at the store working and sitting there doing my online classes. So I continued with that, got my real estate license, and right when COVID hit. So I was telling you, my first 2 years, might as well not have happened. I couldn't do any training. I couldn't show houses. I couldn't meet people. Um, and that's kind of during the time when we decided to start a junk removal business. Um, where Larry came up with that, I have no idea. I just roll with it.
It's an
Every,
epiphany. It's one of those
yeah,
things that just says, hey, this makes sense. Let's do this.
yeah. Everything he's, came up with so far was successful and worked out. And, maybe it didn't stick around long term, but it worked at the time. So I thought, okay, this is what he wants to do. I mean,
But what's
people
junk
always,
removal? What is junk removal?
so, it's something as simple as I have a couple mattresses that I need to get out of here. I don't have a truck. Something we could go pick up. Other things such as, my grandma passed away and we're clearing out her house. So that's multiple dumpsters of things. To somebody buying a building, a big factory or something, and they want to convert it. So it's demolition and then removing all the junk. So it's lots of
So,
different levels to
so
it.
you would go in and actually remove it yourself? Like you would actually offer the service to come actually remove everything?
Yes, there's time, not me,
I
but
understand, but I'm just saying that
yes,
is that
there's
something
they
you
go.
offered? Okay.
Yep, they go in and remove. There's a price for us removing, or there's a price for us leaving a dumpster and them removing. So we also own several dumpsters. We rent dumpsters out as well. Um, and two, our thought process was, at the time, everything was so up in the air. Nobody really knew what was going to go on. We could still, if something like COVID was to happen again and the country shut down, people are still going to need dumpsters. That's not going to be something that is going to take us out, and probably would become even busier because people have nothing else to do. So, hey, let's clean out the garage. Let's, do projects around the house, tear some walls down. So that was kind of a thought behind it as well. And then it also goes hand in hand with me doing real estate. Perfect example. This morning, Larry's leaving to go to work, and he was like, "Hey, a lady named Jennifer, stop it, please. Will probably be calling you today. They called yesterday and had us come clean a bunch of stuff out of her grandmother's house that had passed away. Now they need to sell the house." So I said, "Give me her number." As a real estate agent, you don't wait for someone to call you.
Nope.
Give me her number before someone else calls her. So he called just to make sure it was the right number because they were texting, and he said, I'm going to give her your number. Is that okay? Oh yeah, that's perfect. So I called her, or I text her, and hey, I would love to meet up with you, help you. It's 10 minutes from our house. She's like, yes, absolutely. Like, I think you could totally help us. And her story behind everything is very similar to my experience with my father passing. So not only can I offer them a service, but I can relate. And I feel like I could also offer some advice as far as, what you need to do and things that would be helpful when someone passes.
And it's all based on your experience because you've been there, done that. But see, that's jumping on an opportunity. That's figuring it out, jumping on an opportunity and making it work. But it's cohesive. It like all makes sense. Like you have this opportunity to help families in ways that literally when you're going through it, whatever it may be, there's so many unknowns.
Yes.
So many unknowns as far as listing a house, selling a house, what you're responsible for as the seller, right? Because
Yeah. I
I
mean,
wouldn't know how to sell a house. This is our first home that we've owned. I wouldn't know how to sell a house. And that's where you come in and help us and guide us through it.
well, and imagine never owning a house. Your grandmother passes away. Nothing's in your name, it's in her name. So you have to sell it, and you have to figure out how am I the one to be able to hire someone to sell this house. So there, I can really empathize with them as well. They were dealing with an attorney, and the attorney has a real estate partner that was going to help. And it's like, I would never want to step on anyone's toes, but you're probably not going to get the same service from him. He doesn't have any feelings invested in it like I would. So,
Right, right. And but that's a great service to have. I mean, I hate that you are taking it from experience that you had,
right,
but that whole I've been there, this is what I did, this is what I needed to do, this is where I had to look. That is information that is so valuable
right.
in your grief, in the things that you have no clue about. You need somebody to walk you through, and what a blessing it is to have somebody that has that person's best interest.
Right. And it's everything's hard during that time. So, if you can have someone come along, and they hit it off so well with Larry too. That's kind of it was kind of a shoe in for me because everything went so well with him, and they had such a great experience with him that they're like, okay, if she's anything like he is, then this could go very well also. So I should be meeting up with them the next day or so, and I'm pretty confident that I'm going to have a listing.
Right. Right. Now, so in your current position and in what you're doing, you mentioned that you spent a lot of time at home with the boys, in your thoughts, in your own thing. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit about how your mental health took a hit at that time.
So we're in the store, all of us, me, Larry, and the boys. We're in the store, we're around each other, but we're also around, other people having conversations. We have a lot of regular customers, so we're interacting with them. We're in the community basically where we live. So our friends are coming in, our family's coming in. We're constantly interacting with people. Then COVID hits and nobody's interacting with anyone. And then, Larry goes back to work, but I stay home. So it's like we've already been home for a year and a half, barely interacting with anyone, to now it's just me and kids. And it was hard. It was very, very hard. The winter was it was tough. And I was resentful of Larry that he's like, I'm at work, I'm working, I have to do this to provide for our family. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, you're at work, but you're out in your car listening to music while you're driving to go interact with people. And, it just became very resentful, and it wasn't his fault. And I knew that, but it was also my mental was so just not where it needed to be because I was in the house with little kids for years, it felt like. So I decided I needed to get a job outside of the home. But I wanted to do real estate still. And it wasn't very busy for me. Like I said, my first couple years, there was nothing. So I was still new, learning. But I found a job where I could still do real estate as long as I was doing what I was supposed to do within their company. They didn't mind if I, was on the computer doing things for real estate, or if I had to take a phone call, or they were very accommodating if I had a closing. So it's not like it was, wasn't once a week by any means. Maybe not even once a month at the time. So, but I was also meeting a lot of people. So that was also really good for my real estate business. Actually, my largest transaction to date came from one of my coworkers at the job that I had. Yeah. So, and it was one of those things where I was leaving and I was like, okay, here's my card, here's my card, here's my card. Probably nothing's going to come out of it, but hey, I'm going to, if the opportunity is there, I'm handing out my card. And I got a call, a few months later. Hey, Jennifer, me and my girlfriend want to buy a house. She's a doctor. And I'm like, oh, she's a doctor. And you work in a high end tax firm. I'm like, whew, lights went off, money signs flashing. And so that was wonderful. That was big for me. And then, but yeah, the reason I was no longer there was I got paid decent. It was a decent amount. I mean, to be honest, I was making $21 an hour, but having two children in daycare, once I paid a month of daycare, my month's salary, I had about $300 left. And it was just, it didn't make sense. I like the job. I love the job at different times, but it was just, it was like, okay, I'm paying someone else to raise my kids, and I'm really not benefiting anything from it. Now, was it nice to interact with adults? Of course. It was nice to be there, but I also, in my position, I was very secluded from everyone else. So I really wasn't getting that interaction that I was looking for anyway.
So here she is in desperation for her mental health, the thought of I need this for my mental health so that I can be a good partner, a good parent, a good individual. I need to get out of the house. But in doing that, she was working to pay daycare.
Yeah.
With a show of hands in the comments, how many of us have been there? Not necessarily during COVID, but at some time in your life, did you go to work in hopes of helping your mental health, but then your children had to be put in daycare and it didn't, at some point, the numbers just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. So I know this is a lot of people's stories because when my girls were little, we wanted to put them in daycare. We wanted not daycare, but like a small preschool, a church preschool. And we were a single income family because when my husband and I met, I had told him, I'm like, I want to be home with the kids. Now, wanting to be home with your kids and understanding what that means are two different things.
Yeah.
They're two different things. And that reality hits you like it smacks you in the face.
Absolutely.
So when we approached this particular church preschool, the director of the preschool said, well, I'm looking for a teacher. Have you thought about maybe teaching preschool aged kids? And I'm like, no, I hadn't. I became a preschool teacher. I went to school with my kids. So I had the interaction. I had all of those things. And I was only working 8 to 12. So we were home by nap time.
Perfect.
We were home by nap time. And it filled that need. Now, mind you, was I making a lot of money? I didn't care.
Right.
I didn't care. I just wanted out of the house.
Right.
So I understand that wholeheartedly. So now you're stuck in a position where you're adding numbers to numbers and it's just not making sense. And you even mentioned that the money that you were making was spent on gas and lunch.
Yeah, it was, I believe it probably cost us money for me to work outside of the home. And yeah,
How
it
long
just,
did you
it
do that?
wasn't,
How long did you do that? Did you do that very long?
nope, 1 year, almost 1 year exactly. I started in May and I quit in the following May.
But that must have been the
It was a
hardest
tough
decision
decision.
for you too, because you know, if nothing else, that mental health piece, guys, you know it's scary.
Yeah.
You don't feel like yourself. You're fighting with your spouse because you're resenting them for leaving.
Yeah, to go to work
It
and
makes
be
no
able so we
sense.
could eat and pay our bills and have a house. And it was a tough time, and then it was a tough time to make that decision again. And it's one of those things where it's like I don't mind being home with my kids. I love being home with my kids, but you got to get out of the house. But in the day and age that we live in, it costs $50 to $100 to leave the house. I mean, how many days a week can you do that?
Quite
You
literally. I
know?
mean, quite literally, if we think about it, if we actually sat down and figured it out, a lot of us would be surprised
Oh yeah.
bec- because we just do it. We
Yeah.
don't know to look at it. We just do
Right.
it.
Or
Yeah,
you
so
think,
that
oh,
makes sense.
okay, I'll take them to McDonald's, and that's only going to be a small amount of money, and then we'll go to the trampoline park, and that's only a little bit. but then you add up those few things on top of the gas that you spent and the drink that you needed while you were there, and it's like, okay, $100 for 3 hours to be out of the house. You can't do that several times a week, and you can only go to the park so much,
Yeah,
the free things.
the free park becomes like again
Right. I don't want to go to the park.
so much
Too
fun.
hot.
Okay, so this happens, right? So you're realizing that as much as you love the internet or interaction, as much as you love all the other things, it makes absolutely no sense to pay for you to be out of the house. So back home you go.
So back home I go. And I knew, real estate was better for me. So I knew I was going to be getting that interaction. I knew that that was going to get me out of the house more, even if it was, bringing my kids along with me, which I was very fortunate to be able to do. I knew I had that. And I think I was in a better mental state, just realizing, okay, I did it. I tried it. You know, it was like, that's what I wanted to do. So I did it. Nobody was going to tell me not to. I did what I felt like I had to do. And okay, it didn't work, but I did it. So now I can go back home and not be thinking, oh man, what would it be like if I had a job outside of the house? Or,
Right.
got that out of my system. So it's been much better this time
Good.
around. It's, and then Bryson is in school full time. So during the summer, the kids are a little bit bigger now. We live in a great neighborhood. All the neighbors are very aware of all the children. Everybody looks after them. They know not to speed down the street. We have a nice backyard. I can say, go outside and be
Right.
comfortable that they're out there.
Right.
Before it wasn't like that. So I get a little peace and quiet here and there. But I needed a hobby. I thought, okay, I need something that if I start going back to that place that I don't want to be in, I can have something that's mine, something that I'm doing for me, something that I enjoy, something that, brings that enjoyment to me. So somehow, I still can't remember for the life of me where or why wreaths was it, but
Well,
I started
well, talk
doing.
about your first wreath because you made your first wreath for a very special person.
I did. I made my first one for my mother, and they love camping. So they're retired. They go camping 1 week out of every month all summer.
Wow.
And their camper is nicer than some people's houses. So they're glamping. Um, yeah, very much so glamping. But that's what you get when you're retired, right? That's what the goal is. So they love it. They love camping. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna make her a wreath for her camper. And I found some ribbon with little campers on it, and I was like, perfect. So I made her the wreath, and they thought it was, I mean, they were just like blown away that I made this. And then I made myself a sunflower wreath, and I was like, I mean, who can do better than this? This is wonderful.
Well,
I don't even need to
pat
improve.
yourself on the back. I'm a professional.
Now pull it out today, and I might be thinking a little differently, but I enjoyed it, and it constantly had me thinking like, okay, what's the next thing I want to do? Okay, what's the next video I want to watch? Where's the next place I want to shop? This wonderful, inexpensive materials that I bought from Dollar Tree are actually awful.
We all started there. There's
We
no
all start
shame.
there.
There's no shame.
So I'm like, Hobby Lobby. Can't get any better than Hobby Lobby. And then you realize that Hobby Lobby's just smidge step up from from the Dollar Tree on a lot
But
of
you
those
have
things.
to work with these materials to appreciate
Yeah.
quality, right?
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that the ribbon that you're purchasing from these online shops, it's way better quality, but it's not ridiculously expensive. I mean, it's really very comparable, if not cheaper. If you didn't shop at Hobby Lobby when they had the 40% off, you're going to pay more for that low quality ribbon than you would pay for high quality ribbon on time or online.
For lower quality ribbon and less of it.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's a big thing with it too. It's like, okay, if I'm going to make a really large wreath, I might need to purchase two rolls of it from Hobby Lobby because I might run out. You buy some online, you're going to make a wreath and you can probably make another one.
But that's the thing is you don't know what you don't know, right? You just
No.
don't. You don't know what you don't know. And when you're watching people going live and you're watching them make things and you're asking the questions, where do I get that? How much of that do I need? All of these things that you're asking these people because you're so desperate to know. You're
Yeah.
so desperate to figure it out and you don't know where to go to find that.
But almost everyone in the wreath community that I've came across will answer any question that you have. They do not gatekeep. They will let you know where things come from. And honestly, you don't even have to ask. Go to their link tree
There you
and
go.
it's right there. It's,
And this is the reason why. This is the reason why. We love the questions. We love the community. We have been where you are. However, when we go live, guys, it's for customers.
yes,
It's for customers to come see the quality, the time, the effort it takes to make something beautiful. Okay? So that is why we take the time to do a link tree, to put those things in there so that you, the creator, has somewhere to go and can click on those links and go to where we shop,
right. And it's
right?
usually beneficial to both of us, the purchaser and the creator that has put it on their link tree. Usually, they might get a little, some kind of affiliate kickback from it, or even, just the recognition. Like I know, now you watch a lot of collabs with the places that we purchase from online. And, the more I buy from that link from that person, the more that company is going to recognize them. So, and then
We love our resuppliers. Just so you
absolutely,
know, all you resuppliers, the ones that we can go shop at, the ones that give us discounts, the ones that do these collaborations where we can see what we can get for the next season. Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. Big hearts and thank yous.
Claudia, Grace is grounded. She's in big trouble.
I understand that, but what she doesn't understand is I do already have it written down and we will get there. Just saying,
Okay.
it's just, this is just not the time. We're right in the middle of our real talk. So respect, okay, Grace? Respect.
Grace.
All right. So I know that this is the reason why it was so important for you to come on. And you're so funny. You're like, you're asking me to be on Real Talk. Does that mean I'm really a wreath maker now?
Yeah, I'm like part of the community, you guys.
I'm
If
a
you didn't
real
know.
wreath maker now. And I'm like, girl, you have been a real wreath maker. So with that being said, and with your shock of me asking you, the reason why I ask you is because you have a position that you travel around TikTok with it attached to your name that is a niche that we as creators would love to know about. So, as a real estate agent, you offer or give or gift closing gifts to your clients.
Yes.
We, as the wreath making community, would like to know what realtors are looking for as far as gifting a homeowner a thank you for basically picking them as their agent or whatever and gifting them. What's a good thing to have to offer a real estate agency, and what price points should we look at to stay in?
So, in my personal opinion, as far as price point, me as the realtor, not as the wreath maker,
Right.
I kind of base my gift off of the amount that the house was, the amount that I'm making off of it. Um, but I'm very everything's very personal for me. Everything, if it's a friend of mine that's a young single man, I'm probably not going to make him a wreath. It's, he's not going to appreciate that as much as he's going to appreciate, a laundry basket with some washcloths and, different things that somebody would need for their first house. But, like the couple that I was telling you about, the woman is a doctor and they're not married yet. They're a young couple, but I made them a blanket. I made blankets prior. I made them a blanket. I made them a door hanger, and I got them a few other things. But that's just kind of to show you the price point. They had bought, way more expensive house. But then my fellow agents, they've seen that I'm making these things. I've sold several wreaths that I don't want to say we're necessarily out of season, but maybe very close. I was telling you, like, a week before Thanksgiving or Halloween, somebody might have a closing, and I have 3 Halloween wreaths sitting here that I didn't want to just hang on to. So I would sell them for way less. I mean, as long as I was making my money back, I was okay with it. So $50, $50 is that's a magic number in a lot of things. But as we all know, a lot of wreaths cost $50 to make, if not more. So
Yep.
that's not really ideal. But I also, here I'll sell this to you for a little cheaper in hopes that they're going to tell their other agent friends. They're going to let maybe their client know that, hey, one of my agent friends made this. So it's kind of, I might not make much off of it, but maybe it's going to get my name out there and bring something in.
Right.
And a lot of agents like the door hangers. They like something that's not so specific to a holiday or floral or, something a little more basic. Welcome, hello. That way they can buy them in bulk. And if somebody buys in bulk, that also allows me to sell things for a little less because I can do them very quickly. The door hangers, I can buy things in bulk, and the more pieces of wood you buy, the cheaper you can get them. I feel that like my floral wreaths, like them, it's more specific to a person.
Well,
So
it's more like how do you choose colors for somebody you don't know,
right.
right? Yeah.
Right. So I can make them for my, my clients that I've gotten to know over that couple months or to a year. I mean, however long it takes us to get to that closing table. So I can do that. But as far as the other agents buying things, a lot of times their stuff is more of a generic, could be for anyone.
Right.
So I would like to break further into that. And maybe, get noticed by more agents and have them buying things in bulk. I've definitely sold several things, but I would like to get a little further into that.
Yeah.
I came up kind of with that idea where a few of you probably seen it on my live where I'm going to make a door hanger and then have like 4 different bows along with it where you can attach them by Velcro. Maybe one for each season or one for different holidays. That way they can have just a pretty generic welcome, hello, whatever on it, but then attach a bow for the season, holiday, whatever.
So do you welcome conversations about that when you're going live, when you're doing stuff and you're saying why you're doing it? Because you did share that during one of your lives. You're just like, this is an idea I had. This is what I think I'm going to offer. What do you all think about, the idea of switching out the bow so that it mimics seasons or holidays even? You even said maybe like a Halloween, Christmas, all that whole season thing. You had shared that. So you do welcome conversation about that.
I do. And honestly, I don't know if it's, how our phones are. If you talk about something or looking something up, then all of a sudden that's all you see. But a few days after I had talked about that on my live and made a few bows, I seen a woman did that. I don't know if she was I don't think she was an agent. but she definitely made a door hanger and made four different bows for it. So I'm like, well, did she get the idea from me, or was it just she got it from somewhere
But
else?
regardless of where the ideas come
Right.
from, that should have just verified that it's a good idea.
Exactly. It
Period. If
didn't.
somebody else is doing it, it's a good idea.
Right. It's not affecting me in any negative way whatsoever. I mean, imitation is what the highest form of flattery, they say. So if something that she's imitating from me, that I'm glad that I could help someone else, bring whatever they need, money to their shop, their Etsy shop, or, be able to add more stuff, be able to make things for less expensive, whatever she was to get out of that. I'm glad. And I hope more people, take that idea and run with it. I know I'm not
So
the first.
are you willing to dive into, let me share with you competitiveness? Because I don't think we're in competition with each other. I've never felt that way. I've never felt that wreath makers need to worry or be scared of or not do what they love because they're in competition.
Right.
If anything else, look at what she's done. She's been a hairdresser. Competition. It's competitive.
Very.
Real estate, guys, real estate is competitive. I mean, you are hoping that people choose you, but truly it's a crapshoot.
Right.
It's the luck of the draw. It's whatever falls into your lap. It's whatever word of mouth gets you, right? It's the
Right.
same thing.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised how many close friends or even family have bought or sold a house and I was not their agent. It's very competitive, and there's a lot of loyalty out there. My uncle, I'll say, my grandmother passed and he was selling her house and he didn't use me as his agent, and I was hurt and offended and everything else. But then I thought, okay, he's 60 some odd year old man. He's used this same agent since his very first purchase. How would I feel if I was that agent and he didn't use me? I think I would be a little more understanding that, oh, okay, that was his niece. That's why he chose her. But I get it. Like, I
But
understand the
here's the
loyalty
thing,
is
that's how
there.
you grow.
Right.
That's how you grow because yes, it hurt. You recognized it hurt. You recognize that you understand because honestly, guys, what you do does not mean everybody should use you because you do that thing.
Right.
It
Exactly.
doesn't
And,
mean
and I
that.
might not be a good fit, for someone. There's $1 million houses not far from me. Not that I don't think I could do that, but I've never sold $1 million house. So if, Joe Schmo here has sold 10 of them and you chose him and not me, I get it. I wish
Right,
you would, like, give me the opportunity, but I understand.
right.
You gotta have tough skin in any business that there's competition, because you're not always going to be everyone's first choice. And I feel like it's the same with wreath making. It's not, you know, you shouldn't get offended by it necessarily. Maybe you make wonderful wreaths, but maybe it's just not someone's style, or they like the way someone else does it a little bit better. That's the beauty of it. We're not
Well,
all the same.
it's the connection part too. It's
Absolutely.
the connection part too. I really believe that we are driven by who we connect with, what we jive with, what we vibe with, right?
Right.
So just because let's just say just because I'm close to somebody or we have a friendship or a relationship, it doesn't necessarily translate to that's where I want to spend my money.
Right. Right.
But the opposite can be true as well, where I respect what you're doing. And I would like to support you. So I don't care if you're making a Dollar Tree wreath,
Right.
okay, or a Therasilk based wreath.
Right.
That's who I'm gonna support. That's where I'm gonna spend my money.
Absolutely.
So it's all part of where you vibe. And that's why I think that it's beautiful that so many of us see each other as we're running a race at our own pace.
Yeah.
We're not all in the same place.
Nope.
Gosh,
And
that was too many rhyming words. That was too
you
many
picked
rhyming
a
words.
song.
I apologize. That was too I'm like, no, that was too rhymy in my head. I'm sorry, Grace. I'm sorry. That was too rhymy. Too rhymy. Okay, so making this wreath hobby, because that's basically how it starts out, you've decided to take this next step and make it a business.
Right.
So what's your why behind that? What's going to keep you pushing forward to continue making this particular thing a business?
I think, my initial thought was a hobby. Like I had said, I needed a hobby, something to bring me joy so that I wasn't mentally getting down. But then, to realize that, hey, I'm pretty good at this, that this is like people kept telling me, you have a hidden talent that you just tapped into recently. Um, I feel like once I heard enough times that, hey, you're good at this, it was like, well, if I'm good at it, maybe I could make money off of it. We all need extra money. Definitely costs money to buy the supplies and materials to do it. So, at first it's like, okay, as long as I'm making enough to make my money back that I spent, and then maybe a little extra to buy a couple more rolls of ribbon that I desperately need, then that's it. And then I started to realize, you know, my time is more valuable than what I'm charging. And if somebody doesn't want to pay that price, then, I understand it's your money, spend what you want to spend. But unfortunately, I'm not going to lower my prices anymore to accommodate to someone like something like this. You know, people want to pay 50 bucks. It's like that cost me more than 50 bucks to make it. And the time and the gas spent to get there and the walking up and down the aisles over and over and over and over again. And, hurry up and rushing back to Hobby Lobby to get more on a Saturday because I know they're closed on Sunday, and come Monday that sale isn't going on anymore. And if it wasn't for the sale, it would have been closer to $90 to make it,
Well, you've heard whenever we shop for items, if we get a sale, it doesn't necessarily mean that we transpose that price to you because if we are to recreate it and the item isn't on sale,
Right.
we're not
You're
going to
going to
take
take
a
a
hit or a
loss.
loss on
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I started to hear more and more people talk about the way that they price their items. And, maybe somebody that's been in the business a lot longer, not to say that theirs is going to look so much better, but they've put a lot more into their business at that point. They've spent a lot more money. They're using, maybe the better glue or just the money that they've put in. So rather than charging, two times what they spent and put into it, they're charging three times. And it clicked. It made sense. And I thought, okay, so if I spent $55, $60 to make this and somebody wants me to sell it for 75, that doesn't make sense. Not at
So
all.
basically, and this is the other thing that people really don't get. When you are doing this as a hobby, okay, there's no classes taken at that time. I mean, you're not spending money on your business. So you're not taking classes, you're not taking business classes, you're not figuring out the business side, you're not learning techniques, you're not paying for coaches, you're not doing any of those things. But when you flip it and you're like, I wanna take this to the next level. I think I can make a go at this, and it can be my full time. It can be something that I can do. Now, mind you, doing this full time is not going to affect your career, your real estate part of it. It's
Right.
not. It kind of goes hand in hand because, like you said, real estate is one of those things that is a commitment, because you need to know how to list, when to list, how much to list for, how the trends are going, what's happening in the market and all of those things. But this can go right alongside that.
Yeah, for
It can
sure.
go right alongside that, which is awesome for you. I love that.
Yeah.
So in 2024, what is Jennifer going to be focusing on?
Continuing to turn it into a business. You know, totally turning the page from hobby to business. I've told you I do everything backwards. So,
Yes, you do.
it's not been easy. Everything I try to do with this business, there's a bump. Every single thing I try to do, but I very much am the person that I don't necessarily let things like that discourage me anymore. I used to, but now I look at it like, I had read something years and years and years ago that, you're on your way somewhere and there's an accident and you get so upset, you're running late, you're not going to get there on time, you're going to miss this, whatever. Well, maybe that accident saved you from getting into an accident or, something bad happening to you. So I try to think of it like that. Anytime something doesn't go right, or Etsy or Facebook does me dirty, there was a reason behind it. It wasn't meant to be up there that day, or, whatever it is. Um, so yeah, Etsy has been a pain in my what, but hey, I've learned some things along the way and now it's up and running. Um, it's going to take work to get it to where I want it to be. It's not, it's not exactly where I want. I don't have everything listed. I'm still working on the right words to use and different things like that. But that first step is it's up and running. The name is there. It's the email's attached. I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you literally every step of the way. Either something went wrong with the email or something went wrong with my phone and then I couldn't get the email on my phone, trying to take the pictures from my phone to the computer. I mean, it was every single thing that I've done. There's been an
Hold on
issue.
a second, though. Watch this. Anybody who has done the Etsy thing or gone through the Etsy process, please put an emoji in the chat and share with her that she is not alone, that this was hard, that some of the things made absolutely no sense. Just put your emojis in the chat. Just Etsy is not user friendly.
It's not. And then
And there's so much
look
we
at it
do
bad.
not know. There's so much we do not know. It is hard to get starting.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, look at the chat. So it's not just you, because you start to question. I thought of myself as a smart individual
Right.
until I tried going in there.
Right. It's like, okay, I'm not like super tech savvy or anything, but
No.
I mean, I can read really well and follow
Right.
directions. So
Right.
what is going on?
I know. And it's like, and you're like looking over things 3 and 4 times and you're like, but I did enter it right.
Yes.
But it
Right.
is correct.
Or I'd get to the end
So,
of it and then it'd say, oh, you didn't enter your birthday correct. And then I'd go up there and then it'd be completely gone. And I'm like, I know I did that. So I put my birthday in again. And then I get back down to the bottom and everything's gone that I did. And then I hit whatever. And then it's like, oh, your state isn't correct. And I'm like,
huh? I know where I live. So, little luxuries. Misty says Etsy takes time, so keep going. And then
absolutely.
Tara says, I was president of a tech company and Etsy's a jungle. So it's not just you. It's not
No.
just you. But you know what though? You are taking steps to position yourself with things, with tools that will help you in your process, to help you, encourage you, and keep you going. So that is promising, right? So you're not letting this keep you down. You're just saying,
It's
you
just
kicked
taking
me
longer
and
than
I kicked
I thought.
back.
Right. Right. It's just taking a little longer. I definitely didn't think it would be near as long or complicated as it's been. But, every time something's complicated, you learn something, I feel like. So I'm always down to learn something new. And like I said, it's there. It's not complete, but it's there. First step is done. Check that off the list. Let's move on.
Right. So Grace said it's like it knows you better than you do, and you're like, you don't know me.
Right. Yeah. Who do you think you are? You do not know me. I know my birthday.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
then
not trying to tell Etsy I'm 29 either. I know
no,
Etsy
she's
wants to
being
know.
honest with Etsy. So
Yeah.
Tara says their software is not integrated like it should be. Like,
Yeah.
and this is the crazy part. Like literally, and you're gonna have an aha moment, just like everybody else has, when it finally starts to click. Jennifer, I promise you, it's like I got it now.
Right.
This is what it is. This is how you do it.
Yeah.
So that's the way it goes. And then Grace says, but maybe she is 29. That's so funny. I'm like, whatever. All right. So that's basically Jennifer in a nutshell, a very small nutshell. But now we're going to learn a few things that I didn't ask her previously. And they're not hard. Look at her face. It's not hard questions. It's just silly. We're going to go into some silliness. Okay. We're going to take it down a little bit.
I like
So
silly.
how do you spend your free time?
Well, I guess that depends on what season it is. But in the summer, we very much enjoy the water. Um, Boating, fishing, swimming, anything to be around the water. It's so calming. It's so good for your mental. Um, we sold our boat. Larry sold our boat.
Look at her face. Look at her face. That must have been a sore subject for you.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So when you think of Kentucky, are you talking about water that you go to in Kentucky?
Yeah. When we had the boat, we started out with a pontoon because we had the little guys, and we were putting them on the pontoon in a playpen. Their little life jackets on in the playpen on the pontoon. They weren't walking or anything. So that was, we got a pontoon, then we got a better pontoon, and then Larry's like, okay, I want a big boy boat now. I don't want a pontoon anymore. So he sold the pontoon. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. He wants to go faster, whatever. I guess, just give me a boat. So, yes, lakes. There
Okay,
are a lot
yeah.
of lakes.
That's what we have here, and it's awesome. We have rivers, we have lakes. Let me
Yep.
tell you something. Kayaking on the river is so fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
So
don't know
fun.
about our river.
Really,
Your
it's
rivers are
gross.
different than our
Our
river.
rivers are beautiful.
Absolutely. I love driving through Tennessee. Tennessee is definitely one of our favorite places to go besides Florida. And
It's my
it's
favorite place
4 hours.
to live, honestly.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
We just went actually, Braden, my littlest guy, his birthday's in October. I have an enjoyable story for you about that too.
awesome.
But he wanted to go to the mountains for his birthday. So
Okay.
we went down to Gatlinburg and we had a blast.
I
Me and
love
Larry,
that.
when we first met, we went down to Lake Douglas. We
Okay.
stayed in a cabin right on Lake Douglas. So next time we go down, he wants to do that again. He wants to be on the water.
Yeah.
Larry's a huge fisherman.
Okay.
And the boys, I mean, our boys were 2 years old casting a fishing
I
pole.
love that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, that's what we like to be outdoors. Fishing is big. In the winter, I'm content with being in the house. We do a lot of things like we'll go skating or bowling or go to a museum or something, but not so active in the winter.
Right.
But in
I
the
don't think any of us are. I think that's and that's part of the reason why I do love living in Tennessee. I grew up in Florida where the seasons are hot and hotter.
Mhm.
So it's never there's never a slowdown. There's
Right.
never a slowdown because it's constantly going, going, going pace. So living in a place that has seasons, there is such thing as it slows down.
Yeah. Well,
People
and
just
your
have
body
that
needs that.
time. Yeah.
What they say,
Yes.
winter happens and everything shuts down and rebuilds, and you do that as a person as well. You know, you
Exactly.
give your body that time to rest and recoup from all the activity and
Well,
everything
it's a
in the
mental
summer.
flip. I think it's a mental flip.
Yeah.
So basically, as far as like living in Kentucky, there seasons that homes sell better in?
Oh, yeah.
I just thought of that.
March is the
Okay.
start of it.
Okay.
Um, and then through probably October,
Okay.
you'll get something in like November, December, January, and you'll be like, what in the world? Like, I can't believe it. But it happens almost every year. So it's like, why doesn't it just stick with us that that's going to happen? But I guess you
Right.
just don't want to count on it.
But it's secular, right? It happens every year. So you can pretty much bank that, okay, this is going to be the slow time.
Right.
Okay.
This past January was my busiest month since I started real estate.
January was?
January, which is not, it's very
Right.
unheard of. But
Okay.
yeah, it just so happened to.
Was it people moving in from out of state?
No, I
Okay.
had a woman that I had been working with for a really long time. We probably started in a peak month, but nothing came about, and then finally it did. Just so happened.
Okay.
Not as many people were looking when it was cold, so she was in like her budget was a budget that a lot of people are in, so there was a lot of competition.
Right.
So at that time, there just wasn't so much competition. We got lucky. Um, I had another guy looking for a piece of land, which
Okay.
not too many people are looking for land in the winter time because it's cold and you don't want to go out and look for it. Um,
Well,
but he
land is
was,
hard too because from what I understand, finding the materials now, they're so expensive to
oh yeah,
build a home.
yeah. His was more of a recreational. I'm not sure,
Oh,
they're going
fun.
to put a
Okay.
small building on it of
Yeah.
some sort, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I've tried to convince Kevin that if we should ever sell our home and because he wants land and I'm like, why do you want land? You don't have time to take care of it. But regardless, I'm like, I want a barn. Forget a she shed or anything like that. I've seen like these huge construction, like with big garages. I'm like, that's what I need. And Kevin's like, you'll just grow into it and then out of it. I'm like, so?
it'll be fun.
I think it'll be great. I think
Yeah,
it'll be great. All right, what's your guilty pleasure?
sweets. Sweets. That's my guilty pleasure. Like I'll bake a cake and I'll probably eat all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guilt free or do you shame yourself?
I shame myself. Well,
Oh
I
no.
hide it.
You hide?
I try
Oh
to
my
be like
gosh.
Larry will be like, gosh, which Larry doesn't really eat sugar, but of course there's a whole cake and then there's not a whole cake in, 6 hours
It's
and
it
he's like,
yeah, it's perpetual. It's continuously
it's a
happening.
big deal. But like
Do
the
you
boys.
do you listen to any podcasts?
Um, Not so much at the moment. I did when I was working, outside of the home when I was working, I would listen to a few, mainly murder mystery kind of thing. Um, and then I really got into audiobooks.
Yeah.
I was doing that for a while. I was like, anything I do, I get obsessed for a little bit and then it kind of dies down. That was another reason I've stuck with wreathing. I was obsessed and I'm still obsessed. So
Oh, okay. So it didn't fall off.
it didn't fall off.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm
Okay.
not doing it as much, but I've just been a little bit busier, is why, not because I don't want to. Um, yeah, but yeah,
All
not
right.
not really many
Here's
podcasts.
the question everybody's been waiting for.
Ooh.
What's the strangest place you take your phone to listen to TikTok?
Strange in your opinion or mine?
Um, maybe controversial.
Okay, so I bought this little thing that goes on the back of my phone and it has little suction cups on it, which is where the whole conversation started. It pretty much will stick to anything. Glass, your computer. It'll stick there if you need it. It also sticks very well on my shower. So, maybe someone that I love watching is on doing a live, but I need to take a shower. What do I do? Do I just miss their live, or do I just stick my phone there on the shower and do what I need to do and move on? So
So
if I'm not
funny story.
interacting in your live,
Funny story. She was live and I came in the middle of the conversation. I came in to the middle. So here's people. I'm not the only one. Look, okay. So I walked into the middle of the conversation and I'm like, what the heck did I do? You watch TikTok where? And I said that. And she's like, yeah, Claudia,
yeah, like,
if you're on and I want to watch you and I'm like going to take a shower, yeah, I watch you. So that's why I'm not tapping the
yeah,
screen for you or commenting. And I'm like, so from now on, when I'm live and people aren't tapping the screen or commenting, you know where I'm picturing you now because
yeah.
Jennifer shared she sees nothing wrong with it.
Nope, nothing at all.
Nothing wrong with it.
Mm-mm. Nope.
There are places that I wish I didn't know I was when I go live.
It's just one of the, okay, before I got the little suction cup thingy, there's like a little ledge, so I'd put it up there. But gosh, that was killing my neck, and that was only good for like rinsing my hair.
Did you guys hear that? It was killing her neck. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Not only I mean, you were just matter of fact. You were just like, yeah, I do that. That's
Everybody
normal.
did it.
It's not normal. What do you mean it's not normal? And then
Right.
everybody and they're like, I do it, I do it, I do it. And I'm like, that's it. You guys are all in the shower now when you're not tapping or you're not, commenting or sharing the live.
Yep.
It makes me feel better, just so you know. It's
Yeah.
not a me thing, it's a you
Right.
thing.
Right. Like, don't be offended. I'm not bored with what you're saying. I'm just rinsing my hair.
It
That's all.
mattered to me so much to be in your live that I was going about what I was going to get done, and you were still being supported. I'm here.
Yeah. Me showering should not mess up my support for you.
Ooh. But yeah, she was completely, yeah, Claudia, when I'm not tapping and I'm not commenting, that would be why.
Yeah.
Mind. Pff. And that is exactly when I said, Jennifer, you need to join me for real talk. I have questions.
Yeah. That's what did it, honestly.
Yep. I'm
See,
like,
yeah.
she is apparently doing things that a lot of people do that I didn't think about. I never in a million years would have thought I'm in the shower with somebody right now. All right. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Um, I don't like for people to be unkind, or like, there was something on Facebook the other day where it said something about making fun of someone for there was a reason behind it, and it was something that there was millions of comments on. It wasn't a friend of mine or anything, but I was like, hey, how about we just don't make fun of people, period? Like, not just because there was a reason, just don't. Or somebody being in your live and they don't care for the flowers that you're using, and they voice that opinion, and it's okay to have an opinion, but it's very much a pet peeve of mine for someone to be unkind about something. There's never a reason for it.
But see that okay, so there's two sides to that, right? There's two sides to that. I think that if a creator is asking an opinion, like they're asking their audience for an opinion, a lot of times it's because they want to engage.
Yeah.
It's they want to engage, they want to, and it also pushes you out of your comfort because we know what we like, right? We know what we like to make, we know the colors we like. Sometimes having that interaction with people in your commenting, it can push you outside of your comfort and grow your skill set. It
Yeah.
can grow you
Yeah.
because you're doing something that you normally wouldn't have put together, but then you see, hey, this is kind of cool. This is that I can do that, that I can be guided by
Yeah.
what somebody else likes. It's different than somebody coming in and, like you said, sharing their opinion when it wasn't
Yeah.
asked.
It's, and it's harder when you're typing and you're, reading something on a screen. You don't get the facial expression or the tone. But I feel like you can just feel that when somebody is, like, oh, it did look good before you added that to it, rather than saying, hey, that white flower is kind of throwing me off a little bit. How would it look with maybe a blue one instead? Or, it's just the way
So it's
people
still
say things.
offering your input because let me tell you,
Absolutely.
if somebody is a florist, like this is what they do. They know flowers, they know how
Yes.
things should look, and they're sharing with me. Hallelujah. Thank you, thank you.
Right. So much
Right.
appreciated. I
Right.
do not mind opinions, and we can have total opposite opinions, and I could care less. That is not going to make me think any differently of you. I could care less about your religious views or any of that. Please be you, have your own opinions. But it's just the way that you say things, or the way that you come off to people. That's big to me. I just do not, and I see it so much more now because it's not just seeing it, in your occasional interaction with someone, I'm seeing it a lot online, and it's just like, ugh, it
So
just drives me crazy.
when you've watched several people and you've watched them go live and then that person is then in the comments, can you almost hear their voice? Can you almost hear
I
their
think
tone?
so, and
Right.
I try to think, okay, now am I, wrong for like judging that I think they're coming across this way? So I try to, pull back and think, okay, well, maybe they didn't mean it like this. Maybe they just, it came across that way, but they meant it like this. So I try to take that into consideration. But there's times when you're like, yeah, I know.
Well, what about like okay, so if you have somewhat a rapport with somebody, like you watch them, they watch you, you're kind of hanging out in the same community, somebody may have said something in somebody's live, it kind of hits you a different way. Are you going to let that fester or are you going to reach out to that person and be like, hey, when you said this, maybe I took it the wrong way, but can you clarify what you meant?
It depends.
Is
There's
that level of relationship?
level of relationship, and I'm pretty sensitive, I guess. Like, and I know that I am. So sometimes if I'm really questioning, did did I really think they meant this or not? I might just say, just leave it alone. Now, if it happens again,
Okay.
then I would address it.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. All
Yeah.
right. Ready for another fun question?
Yes.
If you could only listen to one song the rest of your life, what would it be?
So I am obsessed with Cover Me Up by Morgan. Is it Wallen or Waylon? I'm not sure how he says it. I should know
Wallen.
that. But the song Cover Me Up, I could listen to that a million times a day. I am
You
so
know
obsessed.
he's opening up a bar in Nashville, right?
Yeah, like a huge, yeah, yes.
I think you and Larry might need to make a trip.
Yeah.
And I know a certain somebody that's willing to meet you down there.
But it's got to be like before 9 p.m., right?
I'm gonna hurt you. That was a dig. That was a dig, and I'll accept it because I love this woman and she showers with me, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little entitled to say things like that at this point.
So funny. Yeah, she's met that. She's met that. It's okay. It's okay. Now, are you a snacker?
Yes.
Okay, other than sweets, because we already know that that's your guilty pleasure, but other than sweets, what's a snack that you tend to go for?
Um, I really love avocado, so dip guacamole or just even smashed up avocado. Anything with that, I like to. I like dips in general. Um, I eat
See, but avocado's really healthy.
it is, but once you add all the other stuff to it,
No, we're sticking with avocado's really healthy. I mean, you can even stick it on your face. I mean, it's healthy.
yes.
All right, what's the best costume you've ever worn at a party?
So 2 years ago, I think it was, we had a Halloween party and me and Larry dressed as skeletons, but mine was like the Day of the Dead kind of
Oh, nice.
skeleton.
Yeah.
I did my makeup and my hair, and I had this. It just turned out really cool. It was really neat. It was
So,
my
so pictures will be posted to TikTok and sharing this wonderful costume because I think it deserves that. I would love to see it. Anybody else in the comments? Would you
I
love
will
to see
definitely post it.
Jennifer dressed up as a Day of the Dead skeletal
Yes,
figure? I would love that.
got you.
What is the most embarrassing moment you've experienced?
Um, I don't know if it was the most embarrassing. It probably was. It's definitely as soon as you said it, it came to mind. So, one time several years ago, before Larry, I was going out one night, had on my heels. I'd wear give me some heels and hoop earrings, and you can't tell me anything.
Let
Um,
me take my hoops out and I'll show you something too.
so I'm all dressed up, and I'm at the gas station. I needed to get gas, and I put my card in, put the pump in, I'm standing there, and I decide, oh, I might have some trash in the back seat or something. And I went to step over the gas pump and completely bit it. Just, yeah. Heels, skirt, definitely people everywhere.
Where is the camera footage? Where is the camera footage?
But the worst thing is, not one person said, "Are you okay?"
Of course not. They were pretending they didn't see you so that you could recover.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I had a scratch on, like, my knee was like as if I skid across the concrete.
I'm so sorry, but we don't have the best ideas sometimes. It all works out in our head, and most of
Yeah.
the time it doesn't. What's the best surprise you've ever received?
Um, Surprise. Larry's good with surprising me with gifts. Um, this bracelet I got for Christmas, this one, and then this one. Both of them were very much unexpected. So he's really good with every holiday, birthday. He always shocks me with the things that he gets me. He's the best gift giver.
Do you hear that, Larry? She's talking about you.
Oh, I know. No, he knows. I always make sure to tell him how great of a gift giver he
So he
is.
keeps doing it. Keep patting him on the back. You did good.
Exactly. But he also surprised me with a birthday party for my 40th.
Oh,
So,
yay.
yeah, that
That's
was nice.
awesome.
And
Was that a huge surprise? Did you not know anything about it?
I found out about it prior to, but it was still, I mean, he had already had it planned and stuff. So, yeah, just the thought of that he was doing it, even though it wasn't like I walked in and surprise, but
Right.
yeah, it was nice.
That's sweet. Is there anything you're afraid you won't accomplish?
I'm sure there'll be things. But I shared it with you in our conversation. If there's something I want to do, I usually do it. I mean, I'm just, I try to think long term, and, maybe quitting this job isn't the best idea. I need to, stay here and get this retirement and all this and that. But I also don't want to live with regrets. I don't want to be, 80 years old thinking, man, I wish I would have went to hair school.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They say that when you do get to that age, you regret what you don't do. You hardly ever regret what you did.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I believe that 100%.
So, do you have any toxic traits you're willing to share? Because we
I'd
all
love to
have
say
them.
I've grown out of most of them. Not, no, I don't think I do at this point. I mean, I've had my crazy, don't get me wrong. I've
You
definitely
do.
in my younger years, I've had my crazy, but I'm pretty, I don't know. Larry might, say differently,
That's why we're not
disagree.
asking Larry. We're asking you.
But I think, these two little ones, they've calmed me down a lot, that's for sure.
So yeah, because we do tend to be better for someone other than ourselves. So I get that. I totally understand that. So what is a trait in a friendship that you most value?
Honesty. I appreciate honesty.
To a fault, like do you like brutal honesty? Like if you're asking a friend for blank, you want to know what they really think, even if it hurts.
Yeah, but I want them to, serve it to me with a side of cream. I don't need it straight black.
So in
I
other
get my
words,
feelings hurt easily.
she needs a shot with a chaser.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Do you have a bucket list? What's the number one thing on your bucket list?
Just to travel more.
Okay.
I was so stuck on, I love Panama City Beach and I want to go there every year of my life. And Larry's like, I love Panama City Beach and I want to go there every year too, but I also want to go here, 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 and here and, see other things. And
You know
it's
there's other beaches, right?
apparently, but we've started going outside of that and seeing different things. And I want my boys to, see different things. My dad, when I was younger, took me on many vacations. So I want them to have that same experience.
So for the last question, what does Jennifer want to be remembered for? How do you want to be remembered?
Um, I want people to remember me for being thoughtful. I mean, I like I said, even with closing gifts, everything is personal to me. I wouldn't go buy something in bulk because that's not going to work for me.
Okay.
Just because Larry's a man and my oldest son is a man, I'm not going to buy them the same gift because that might not be, what I know would mean something to them. So I always try to be very thoughtful and very intentional, very giving when it comes to things like that. And I hope people always remember that about me and how much I
Do,
love my kids.
do you know anything about love languages?
I do.
Okay, so because you just said you're thoughtful with your gift giving, that means that you take the time to be intentional about being specific to that person. Is that a love language? Is that how you show love?
I think so. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
think that's how I show love. Maybe it might not be someone's love language where that makes them
Like their
feel
cup
it,
gets full, yeah.
but yes, but they're gonna realize that that's my way of showing love for sure.
How do you receive? How do you receive love? How does somebody make you feel like your cup's getting full?
Um,
Do I need to
help,
remind you of what they are?
helping me with things,
Acts of service,
service, yep, and time, time
quality
spent
time.
choosing me,
Yeah.
choosing
Isn't
me.
that crazy?
Yeah,
Quality time.
yeah,
Okay, so for me, with my family, acts of service, when they do something that I didn't ask them to do, but they saw that it needed to be done and I didn't have to ask, wow, fill my cup. Like I
absolutely,
feel so seen and so loved. But
yes.
with my friends, when they give me their time and they spend time with me,
Mhm.
full,
Yeah,
completely full. There is nothing more valuable that you can give somebody than your time. And
absolutely.
when anybody spends time with any of us. I mean, that's why we thank you for joining us when we're live. That's your time. You're
Yeah.
giving us your
Yeah.
time. Huge gift, guys. Huge
Yep.
gift.
You can be anywhere in the world and you chose, the time that you'll never get back. You chose to give that to me. I
Yep.
can't think of anything more special or, could mean any more.
Nope. So I'm going to take that and thank you for giving me 2 hours of your day today and for all of you that came to watch Real Talk again this
Thank you.
week.
I appreciate you having me on here. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed our conversation the other day. I mean, we talked on the phone for probably way longer than either of us intended, but
But we got some things handled during that
yeah,
conversation too, so it was good.
absolutely.
It was all good. Guys, thank you again for joining us for Real Talk. Again, Jennifer, thank you for your time and thank you so much for joining us. Guys, just so you know, Jennifer can be found on TikTok. She is under the name that she's under right now. It's Jennifer Realtor slash decor maker because she makes beautiful designs. So if you don't follow her, please give her a follow and join us again soon for some more Real Talk. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye,
Thank you.
Jennifer.